Hello. Can you hear us? I think we are live.
It should work, yeah.
Oh God, ik ben for sure how. Can someone tell us if you can hear us? Hello. Yeah. Okay. Maybe, maybe that's for the chat. Can
Most
someone
probably
just
yes.
say yes, we can hear you, or something that is um same or said to be sure. I can hear you. Wonderful.
Okay,
Thank you,
perfect.
Scott. Wonderful. So, yeah, you most probably know me. I'm Mark, and that's Samuel. So, thanks a lot for taking the time. Yeah, we want to give you an update on the expansion, especially with a focus on the animals. Samuel will have a look at the chat so that we don't miss questions. So I will try to answer all the questions that you have so that I also, when I talk, I can make like a small loop and answer the questions. And so Samuel will mainly focus on this task so that I can focus on, yeah, going through all our notes that we have and yeah, make this as efficient as possible for everyone involved. Great. So yeah, thanks a lot for being
Let me
here.
talk,
Yeah, okay.
right?
Oh
And I will
no.
moderate,
Okay.
huh?
Okay. Mm. So, um, yeah, where to start? So, yeah, when we started our ideas and thinking process and brainstorming about the whole Zoo Tycoon expansion thing, we of course also went back to the real digital Zoo Tycoon to analyze the expansions that were made back in the days, right? And maybe most of you will remember there was Marine Mania, right? The aquatic water expansions with orcas and dolphins and animals and other aquatic animals, right? And then there was also Dinosaur Dicks. I think this was the second one. And yeah, so these were like the three core pieces of Zoo Tycoon 1. And so our when we had like the thinking process, for us it was very fast clear that Dinosaur Dicks when we will do it, then it will be something more standalone-ish, right? Because with dinosaurs, you have many things that you don't have with animals today. So conservation won't be a thing with dinosaurs because I mean they are already extinct, and then you bring them back with science, and it's anyway a bit of a sci-fi setting or like yeah a bit yeah it's half real, half non-real. So if we would, in case there would be the potential of do something with dinosaurs, like the extinct animals, and we definitely have that in our minds. And I think the guys from Microsoft would also be interested to have something about dinosaurs in Zoo Tycoon. Then it would be definitely a standalone thing. It also, of course, a standalone thing also has potential that we can change some rules, change some things. Yeah, that will also give us quite some options and possibilities, right? And then, of course, the other thing is Marine Mania. And yeah, so when we did the base game of Zoo Tycoon, we already had in mind that water is missing. So the biome water is missing, and of course some other animals too. So that was quite high on our priority list that we want to include water, right? And we already thought about it even in the base game, like as a fourth biome. But since the animals and the number of species is it's limited, right? We wanted to focus on three biomes on the base game market. I mean, it also makes sense from a donor perspective, from an event card perspective. The food booths work together with the biomes, so it's important that you focus on yes on some biomes and don't have like 10 of them, right? Other thing that is also missing in the base game, and we are aware of this, are of course fish, reptiles, amphibians. These species, Australian animals, were also, I mean, they are, I think, quite high in the priority list of many people. And yeah, they were also missing in the base game. And also smaller animals, like the animals that you most of the time see in houses. Sometimes they are, for example, reptiles, so lizards and snakes and stuff like this, but also smaller birds, just animals that don't have have enclosure for their own, right? But also don't share one with other animals. They are just too small. They would instantly fly away or would get eaten or whatever. So these animals were also missing. And of course, animal houses, because these were also like a part of the base game of Zoo Tycoon. So this was a bit our priority list that we had. And yeah, in the process then, I mean, you also gave us a lot of good feedback. Also, you named a lot of species that you would love to see in the game, right? And we also had, of course, a list, and also from the Kickstarter campaign. Already in the Kickstarter campaign, people had wishes for animals. So we, of course, also, so we had a very long list. And then, so how does the process work? Yeah, the process, that's it's a process that it really goes in loops. So you try something, then you try the next thing, and it's of course also you have to put together a team, like in soccer or American football or whatever sports you're doing. You need a team that works together, right? You need smaller animals, bigger animals, and so you have to put together a perfect team that works in the end, right? We can't just have all big animals and that need a lot of space, because then it only works with strategies where you have a lot of money and a lot of tiles, right? So we need just to have animals for all the situations, and also animals that go together with different strategies. And so in this process, we established the following. I think Samuel already mentioned this on Discord. So we will focus on 3 new biomes in this expansion, and this will be water, as already announced. That's not a surprise. It will be tundra, or just Arctic regions. So just regions. Before we had the montane forest, boreal forest, but this region, but even more to the north or to the south, where there are no trees. So, for example, polar bears live there, right? And then we have dry forest, because I mean, savanna is already quite a dry region, but for example, like Australian animals, or also some animals on islands, Madagascar, there is a lot of dry forest, and I think there are also some other regions that are interesting. So these were like the 3 main biomes we wanted to focus on, and I think they also complement very well the biomes that we already have. I think besides that, only like desert would be missing, but I mean, with savanna and dry forest, I think we can already cover that very much. And because in the real deserts, you really only find very, very few animals. So so that's at the moment. And of course, why do we also have to focus on 3 main biomes? Is also because of the food buildings again, education booth, the donors, events, national parks. And so to make it quick, Samuel will show you in a second the new animal market, as we have. But wait, Samuel, give me a second. Because that's of course the most interesting part. We will go there in a second. But after we show you the market, of course, I will tell you the thoughts about, like, the general thoughts, why it looks like this at the moment. Of course, at the moment, the artwork isn't done yet. I mean, we already signed a contract with Johanna and Nina, the artists that drew the animals in the base game. So that's already signed. That's a good thing. But they haven't started yet. So at the moment, we use stock images. That's important. So that's not done, of course, yet. And also important with the numbers, like conservation, popularity, education, all this stuff is also still in the process. We have it, I think, quite on point already, but the numbers will still change a bit. And also important, all the animals that you see, there are still 2 or 3 or 4 where we are uncertain, and that also gives you, of course, potential to still maybe get your favorite in the game. And now, when Samuel shows it, I will give you also some remarks. And if you have, of course, specific questions, Samuel will note and will take notes about all of them, and then I will also answer them. Why is this species in there? Why is this missing? Is there a chance that this will be in the game? Do you already have some questions, Samuel?
There's a question where they ask if it's safe to assume that no new animals will be coming in any old biomes. And I think there we just have to tell them that the idea.
So there I will anyway answer that in a second.
I will show it, okay?
Um, and oh yeah, then we have a question about the big box. This we can also already. So I will, yeah, big box. I will also mention in a second. Yeah. So yeah, show them the market, and then I will just tell them what our thoughts are. Yeah. So at the moment, and yeah, I'm very sorry, it's in German, but from the but from the images, you should get already the point. So at the moment, and we have, so these are the animals. I will just go shortly over them so that you see all of them, right? So at the moment, that's the animal rooster, the team. So yeah, to translate it fast, it would be the capybara, the saltwater crocodile, the jaguar. Then we have the eastern gray kangaroo. We have the cougar. We have the Magellan penguin, I think. Then we have the Arctic fox, musk ox, Californian sea lion, African manatee, South American tapir, the hippopotamus, the southern cassowary, the Chaco and peccary, and the Komodo dragon, the ring-tailed lemur, the koala, the sea otter, the polar bear, the Madagascar pochard duck, the green sea turtle, the Galapagos giant tortoise, the black-footed ferret, and the Pretz-Kowalski horse. And we also have some new fillers, and we call them filler animals. You call them additional animals or co-species, but for us, that's always the work in progress title is always filler animals. So we have the guanaco, the nandu, and Orea. You also call them Rhea, I think, in English. Then you have the Arctic hare. And this one was already in the base game. It's the tundra swan. And we will make it possible that it is played as a boreal species or as a tundra species. Then we have, this one. I think it's the red-necked wallaby or something like this. This is the dwarf mongoose, the southern dwarf mongoose or something like this. This is the emu. Then we have the giant armadillo. And these species you already know here, the rainforest ones. And then this is the greater flamingo, right? And so yeah, let me make some rewards because yeah, you will definitely have a lot of questions in your head, and I can give you maybe already answer some of them, and Samuel will also note down all the other ones, so none of these will be forgotten. So the first thing you maybe ask yourself, why are there no water additional animals? So there will be water additional animals, but they will work a bit differently. They will work the same as the other smaller animals that we want to include in the animal houses. So they won't be part of the animal exchange, but will be part of the smaller animals, the ones that are in the animal house, right? So just that you don't think we forgot about them. And then, so what is also maybe give a bit of, so some animals will be also semi-aquatic. So you see that some of them have like drops here, right? So these drops will have an effect in the game. So these species also need water, and not just, so the saltwater crocodile is a rainforest species or a species that is from the rainforest region. And it also needs, of course, a lot of water, same with the capybara. So these are semi-aquatic species. Then this would be a dry forest, right? And then we have the cougar, which is a very special animal because it can live in many different biomes. This will also make it a very flexible, versatile species. And then we have here a water species. And these are all tundra species. Water, then we have again semi-aquatic, rainforest, and then we have dry forest. Semi-aquatic here, another water species, right? Semi-aquatic and water, dry forest, and tundra, right? Each. Samuel, question: standard and deluxe. What do you mean with standard and deluxe?
If both will be available.
Standard, if both standard and if there will be a new deluxe version.
Yes.
With printed and yeah, for sure there will be one. We maybe it will even be one with more than just one color print, but more colors, because, for example, with the southern cassowary, you have blue, black, and red, and it will be very complicated to show him in all his glory and without more than one color. So yeah, there will definitely be also a deluxe version of this. And so yeah, what do I want to tell you a bit more is that so all the species you also told us on Discord, but also on the Kickstarter campaign, we definitely try to include as many as possible, right? So that's very important. So maybe one also big thing that you ask yourself is, so why aren't there at the moment no dolphins, no orcas, no belugas, no narwhals, no sharks? So that's a very good question. So Samuel and I thought a lot about this, and we also had made a lot of research. To be honest, we had a look at many also science papers, a lot of we also read about this in newspapers, but everywhere where we found information online. And there is simply one thing. I mean, zoos anyway, some people see them more critical, others are more enthusiastic of them. Are from you can see them from a lot of perspectives, but many of the animals that you see here, if you keep them in a zoo and you keep them well in a zoo, they get quite old there, even older than if they would live in the wild, because they have very good healthcare there. For example, they have always enough food, and so people care about them. But with the big animals like orcas, dolphins, and all these water animals, they have very short lifespans there. For example, whale sharks, they sometimes they get in wildlife, they get like 50 years old or 60 years, very old. And in aquariums, they die most of the time after 5 years. Or you have, for example, white sharks. White sharks you can't keep alive for some reason when you have them in an aquarium. They die most of the time after 1 day or several days or maybe a year or so. So many of these animals really don't do well in captivity. And I also in the last few years, many of these, for example, orcas and dolphins enclosures or like facilities that had these animals, they also closed. So when I was young, there were even like 2 dolphin aquariums here in Switzerland, and now there are none anymore. I think and more people see that it's very complicated or almost impossible to keep these species in a good enclosure. And I mean, also when the game was made back in the 2000s, right? Maybe the knowledge was different also about this. And to make it quick, Samuel and I simply don't feel comfortable to do this. We don't think it would be the right way for the game. And also now that's very important from a financial perspective. This is a dumb decision. We already know this, because if there would be orcas and sharks and belugas and narwhals would be in the game, we could simply call the expansion Marine Mania. Wonderful, everyone would be happy, and it would also be way easier to marketize and whatever. But for us, that's just it's a core decision. And since this is our business and we want to do the things like we think it's right, and we also, it's not about that we feel outside pressure to do this. This is our own decision to do that. So even if this makes the financial potential, puts it at a bit lower level, I think for us, we think that's the right way to do it. And we still think that with the other species that we decided to include, like the manatee, the Californian sea lion, the sea otter, the green sea turtle, and all the other semi-aquatic one, we already have a great rooster of animals. And we checked all the big fishes, the different fish species, we checked different turtles and different aquatic animals, and we think we have the biggest one, the most the best ones, or the ones that you will like best, but maybe you will also missed one. So yeah, feel free to also make suggestions. Just a second, Samuel has to check something. And so that's also very important. But one thing that you also have to see,
small note there, it's
Okay.
very positive.
Okay.
The feedback. So
Okay. And so one thing that is also important is that I mean, there are, for example, more more species of sea turtles. There are also more manatee species. There are also, for example, the harbor seal. But there you simply have to, because when I put together a rooster like this, one thing is also important for me, and that's also something that we do for you, to be honest, is that I don't want to include clones. Because I could have simply taken the base game species and just put new images on the cards and just take new animals, and it would work because the game is already balanced. But that's not something that we do. I want to include species that feel differently, so that you also not just buy new skins for animals, right? Not new animal skins as you would do like in Fortnite or another digital game. When I deliver you an expansion, or we deliver you an expansion, we want that you get something new, something that, of course, still feels like the base game, still feels like the game that you like, but also that it's not just a reskin, right? And so all the time, and for example, the Jaguar is a good example. I mean, the jaguar, the snow leopard, the tiger, they are very similar. The leopard and the cheetah, these are species that have, they are loners most of the time. They are cats. They need around the same enclosure size, stuff like this. So it's complicated to include them all. We could easily do that, right? I could give you a leopard, and but I mean, I want that it feels differently. And I think with the cougar and with the with the jaguar, we still are able to do that. But but it's limited, right? The numbers that I have that with which I can play are limited. So it's also, if you, for example, now would tell me, hey, there is another great tortoise, the leatherback, for example, the leatherback turtle that I would like to be included. I mean, yeah, great idea. I think, I'm not sure if they are in an aquarium worldwide, but also it would be pretty much one-to-one the same species as the green sea turtle, right? It's very complicated. For example, with the Pretz-Kowalski horse, it's very similar to a lot of other ungulates, right? Because they live in groups. They have more or less the same popularity, the same education. Also, from a conservation point of view, they would be same. I mean, one species that I would love to see in the game would be a camel, right? The Bactrian camel, the wild ones that are endangered. But to be honest, it's exactly the same as the horse. And so, since I don't see a real opportunity how I can include it for you, and also give you a different feeling, a species that really plays differently, it's not in the game at the moment, right? And just a sip. And yeah, so a bit more so what is the plan at the moment? So these are the species at the moment that we think will make a great expansion. And there will be new national parks, of course. And also, that's of course also important that you have animals that live in the same areas, just for the mechanic of the game. And so, what also do we have for plans? So what we know is that you, of course, would love to also somehow combine the old species and the new species. And we want to make this possible for you. Because, I mean, maybe someone of you likes these species very much, but they would love to also have the apes, possible to play with the apes, or with gorillas and chimpanzees. And I think, you definitely want to have the opportunity to exchange species. And we want to make this possible. So at the moment, our plan is the following: that the animal market It's not, you don't see it here, but I just want to explain it a bit. So on the animal market, what we will do in the expansion, you will get a full new animal market with all the species that you see here also. And so what we want to do is that it will be double layered. So here there will be like a grid, right? Like this and like this. So a perfect grid. And then when we will give you the base game species, we will give you like small cards like this that have also here a little window, a little gap. And then you can simply take this species and put it here on the spot that you want. So for example, here you could place the lion, or here you could place the black bear, or wherever. So you will be able to create your completely own market. Of course, we will definitely give you some suggestions what you have to be aware of, that the game still works. But from our perspective, it should be possible to play with all the different with all the species together. And of course, we also have to make the national parks also replaceable, because of course, if you put in new species, you should also be able to replace the national park, right? So that's at the moment our idea to do that. Yes, Samuel?
They ask if they get new player boards.
At the moment, it's not planned to have new player boards, because this old ones still fully fulfill the purpose. You still can perfectly play with them. I mean, if you have an idea why there should be a new player board, or what it will bring, how it will enhance your game or your expansion, or your how it feels to play, then go ahead, please. I mean, we are always interested, but at the moment, no, it's not planned. So with the modular market, like I said, there will be a grid. It will be double layered. You will get the base game cards, the base game animals as cards that you can put in these gaps. And now there is still something missing. Yeah, the market sheet. It still is very complicated to find a solution for this one. I mean, we also thought about the grid where you can place these demand and supplies there. But I mean, then the grid would be very thin, right? And it could easily rip or get damaged. Yeah, so this is definitely something that we are also would be very interested if you have an idea how we could make the animal market sheet work. Of course, I mean, we could do it like there are group species and loner species, and you just but there are also more differences between the species. Some allow bachelor groups, others not. A group species doesn't equal a group species, right? Some have very big groups, large groups, while others have very small ones. And a group species can also be happy with 4, others are not happy with 4. So that's still something where we don't have a perfect solution. I think with the grid and the double layered market, we have one for this. But the animal sheet, still complicated, right? Question: is it possible to play both animal boards at the same time? I mean, theoretically, completely yes. And that would also, I mean, we could just do that and just tell, hey, place 2 animal exchange next to each other. But the thing is, nobody has such a big table to place both animal exchanges next to each other and still play it with 4 players. I mean, you can do it, go for it, but you also have to see 48 species or 47 species. That's a lot of species with a lot of demand and supplies and a lot of possibilities. And I don't know, I don't think that it will give you a great animal experience. Of course, you can do it, but I think if we make it possible for you to exchange them and have still this dense animal and this dense gameplay, where it's still a competition going on, and sometimes someone takes away a species from you, and it still doesn't feel very easy, and everyone can do whatever they want. We will try to make that possible. But that's the most easiest thing. Just place the 2 animal exchange next to each other and play with them. That's definitely possible. And one more thing, and what the modular market will also allow us is to include some other species, right? Because what our plan is also, besides that, so you will get a full expansion with 24 new species, I think 10 more filler additional animals, right? The species. But what we also want to do, some species are definitely still missing that you really want. For example, the wolf. I think the wolf is very high on the list. Maybe the okapi is also very high on the list, because at the moment a lot of boreal species and also savanna species are missing, because the new animal exchange only focuses on tundra, water, dry forest, and rainforest. And that's already 4 biomes. It's quite a lot, so it gets a bit more complicated with the education booth and also some of the event cards, the donors. You know everything that is connected to the biomes, but it still works because you still have 4 to 5 species of each biome, or even a bit more. But with 5 and 6, if I would have included like 3 savanna species and then 2 more boreal species, then it gets very complicated. So we focused on these 4 biomes. But there are, of course, for example, the wolf is missing. I know you would love to see the bison. Still a bit complicated with the bison because of the ungulates, right? Again, a species that feels and plays very same-ish like the elk. But if you have a great idea how to make it different, please tell us. And yeah, so what our plan is at the moment, so we have this full expansion, right? And then you will get, we will maybe make a pack. I call it pack, or a pack that just with 9 or 10 more fan favorites that feel different. That's still important for me, that they feel different, and that you can include, because since the market is modular, you can simply exchange some of them and then play with wolves and bison or whatever. I mean, Yellowstone would also be a great national park that I would love to make work. I mean, cheetah would be a great species to include. So yeah, like 5 to 10 more species. We would like to make that possible somehow, right? So that's definitely on our list. And regarding the animal market, the animal exchange sheet that you have seen some minutes ago, there are still also some spots that. Do you have a question?
Should I show you the market?
Yeah, just for a second. Let's go back to the market. Yeah, so some, of course, all these species, if you think you have a better species to place here, I mean, feel free, because some of them, of course, there are some can be easily replaced. Maybe there is another small carnivore in the tundra Arctic region that you think would be better, right? Or there are, of course, other seals. I mean, so I'm quite open to that. Of course, it still has to work with the national parks and everything, but I'm open for your suggestions or your recommendations. And with 2 species, I'm even completely open to replace them. And the one would be the Przetkowalski horse. I mean, here, if you have a better species that was reintroduced, please feel free. Here I'm very open, because for me it still plays very, very same-ish as the Arabian oryx. But of course, I mean, that's the Przetkowalski horse is maybe very high on every list what zoos have achieved, right? Because this species really only lives because of some men or some persons that somehow kept them alive, and together with zoos it was able to reintroduce them. But if you have a better one, a species that you find more interesting, that maybe is also aquatic or semi-aquatic, I'm very open for that. Same with the ring-tailed lemur. I think on a lot of lists, it's very high. So in many zoos have the ring-tailed lemur in their zoo. So it's a species that I would love to see here. But since it's the only monkey in the whole rooster, it could be also any other species, to be honest. So these 2 I'm very flexible. So if you have something that is dry forest, and that has also conservation, that maybe even have a higher popularity than this species, maybe a same-ish or higher education, please, I'm very open for that. Same with the Przetkowalski horse there. I'm also very interested in hearing your feedback if you want to see the species. I mean, many people like horses, so and also with other species, if you have interesting species that you think, hey, that live in the dry forest, that are water species and do well in captivity, or tundra species that we forgot, please. I mean, Samuel will also open, in the Discord, will open forums or threads, or I don't know how it's called, and there you can definitely make some suggestion in these specific fields, and I'm very open to hear your feedback there. And yeah, so then let's go back to me. I think the animal exchange is for the moment no longer. So that's like I said. So it would be great to hear your thoughts about the animal exchange sheet if someone has a creative idea to do that. The other thing, like I said, maybe some fan favorites that are still missing that you want to see, but also replacements for the species I presented to you. Then one thing that we also are very open about is the name. At the moment, we would call it most probably Tycoon New Shores. Why not Marine Mania? Marine Mania would again be very smart from a financial perspective, but it would be misleading. Yeah, because Marine Mania had orcas and dolphins and belugas and narwhals and whatever, and it's definitely we have 4 of these species we have, but I think it would be misleading and would also not show the full variety that this expansion includes with dry forests and tundra and whatever. So we would say new shores. Why new shores? I mean, many of the animals are related to water, so shores from this, but new shores also means we go to new shores, to new regions. Australia, for example, I mean, the Komodo dragon also lives on an island. The ring-tailed lemur also lives on an island. So I think most of the species, I think with new shores would be well represented. But if you have a better one, feel free to give us a great name. And if it's a great name and Microsoft is also okay with it, because they have the last word, then in the end, the expansion will be called after the name you suggested to us. So Samuel will also open a thread for this one in the Discord. And then
someone asked why we choose the ferret.
The ferret.
No one guessed it. No one guessed it.
Why
guessing? They guessed before.
Oh, they were guessing. Nobody guessed it. So why the ferret? I think it's I mean, it's not tundra, but it's prairie where there are also no trees, and it's also cold tundra. So there are, I mean, you can at vegetation zone and biomes, you can have a lot of different views on this. If you look on the climate, if you look on the vegetation. So the ferret is a very endangered species in the US. It's critical endangered, almost extinct. Zoo play a critical role in keeping it alive, and they also bring it back to the prairie. It's also a carnivorous species. Until now, we didn't have a carnivorous species for in the real introduction part. So that's the first carnivorous level 3 species, and I think it fills a great gap. And I think it also works very well with the polar bear, because with the polar bear, you need 3 carnivores to unlock it. And so it's a small one that you can unlock easily, and I think it fits quite well. But also with the ferret, to be honest, I'm also open. If you have a better tundra or dry forest or species, please go for it, right? And please tell us about it in the Discord, and we are very open to include it. So, and one thing that I can't show you at the moment, because I told you about it before, are the how the animal house will work and the smaller animals, because Samuel and I are still quite unsure how this will work. And I think we have a good spot at the moment, but it's not yet perfect. We already had something, but it felt like in the end everyone has almost the same result, and it didn't feel right. So our plan is to include 40 to 50 small species, like small reptiles, amphibians, small birds, a lot of cool animals, and there we will also be very open for your recommendations. But we somehow have to make them work perfectly. I think somehow, like an hour ago, we had a discussion about this, and we have a new plan how to do it. A plan that most probably, we are quite certain it will do better than the one that we have. We will test it again. And once we have it at a level where we can show you and also get then feedback, and we will, of course, tell you more about it. But for now, it will be 40 to 50 new species, most probably in a tile shape, maybe if we can make it work in meeple shape, that would be very nice, of course. But yeah, let's at the moment assume it's tile shape, so nobody is disappointed if it's not meeples in the end, right? And yeah, so about this. So the expansion, to summarize at the moment, is about 3 new biomes with a full new animal market, and then we will have smaller animals, animal houses. So that's the focus at the moment. And there will be maybe a pack with some more animals that are at the moment missing that you would like to see very much. And so now I have to think, what did I want to say here? Reset. What does reset mean? Why did I write reset? Name. Reset. Maybe I already mentioned that you can give us feedback there or sell. Yeah, most probably it's this. Yeah, exactly. That's just a summary. What we would like to see and what feedback would be very valuable, in which areas would be very valuable. Yeah. So what's happening now? So Samuel will update the Discord, of course, so that we can again talk about especially these topics that I now mentioned, because we would love to hear your feedback about. And so that will be a big part. Once, of course, everything is polished from ours, and once we think we have everything together, we will also set this up on Tabletop Simulator so that you will be able to play it and give us instant feedback, what you think about the new mechanics, and also how they feel. Because of water, well, we have a new mechanic, how it feels. Reptiles play a bit differently. So we have all some new mechanics, but I think it doesn't make the game more complicated, Samuel, and I even think it's a bit more nice, a bit more forgiving, right? It gives you a bit more. I think you have a bit more money for the ones that struggle with the money, and it gives you a bit more air to breathe. I think there are also smaller species that fit in only on 2 tiles, gives you also a bit of potential, and it definitely doesn't make it more complicated. That was from the beginning our goal. It has to be different because we want to really deliver something to you that feels different, but without making it more complicated. So for example, to shortly say with water, it will be that the water tiles have running costs, but the water animals don't have running costs. So compared to the normal animals, the other animals, where the group size determines how the running costs, with water animals, it will be the size of the enclosure. So that's a nice little twist, nothing big, but I think it definitely gives a little bit a different feel and will make the water animals distinctively different than the others. Or with the reptiles, we will have there that you can choose the gender or the sex, or just you of the offspring, right? So this will also because maybe with reptiles it's like this. If it's a certain temperature, all offspring will be male or all offspring will be female, and that also will make it a bit more easier to give them away on the animal exchange. So all small changes like this, so that it just, or for example, the same with the jaguar, that or the cougar, that it have different biomes. Also an interesting new twist, that the animal species, you can play dry forest, you can play it also with, for example, the tapir. Also will have dry forest and rainforest, and then you can include different of these additional animals. So maybe you place it as dry forest, maybe you place it as rainforest, maybe with more water, maybe with less water, right? So all these small interesting choices that just make the game in every play a bit differently, right? And so what are we also doing? Because we wanted to summarize, give you also a full summary. So what we also did, I think Samuel maybe also noticed it or mentioned it in the Discord about the rulebook. Did you also tell them a bit something about? Yeah. So we, of course, everything you suggested on Discord, Samuel and I went through it. Also what you suggested on Kickstarter. So everything that you mentioned there was read. We didn't forgot a single comment there. And also about the rulebook, because A lot of people seem to be perfectly fine with the rulebook, but I think some struggle. Our new team member, Ricarda, she already announced herself on Discord. Also had a look at the rulebook because she plays a lot of game and she is very good with writing. And she had a look at it, and I think she and I have now a very common vision how we want to change the rulebook, because we think, I think most of the people struggle because this is a very heavy game. It plays differently, and there are a lot of information in the rulebook. So what we want to achieve is we won't change the rulebook completely, but we will make it more accessible, right? So that it's easier for you to find. I mean, the same with the expansion rulebook won't be too big, right? Because the expansion rulebook, maybe 8 pages. I hope it's 8 pages or maybe even less, because as a side, we will change some things, but we try to keep it as in the same rule set as much as possible, right? Nothing new on top, but something that feels very integrated. So the new rules won't be much. But for the base game, of course, we want to just rework the rule book in this region, that we will want to make it more accessible, and we want to make it easier for you to find the information that you are looking for, because until now, all the feedback we got, all the questions that we have, they are in the rule book. So I think until now we maybe forgot about one tiny detail or two tiny details, but everything is in there, right? But we want to just make it more accessible, that you find it easier. We want to maybe give you the information at a different point in the rule book. So so that's also one thing that we are working on, is changing the rule book in this regard, that it's more accessible and more easier to find where is the information that you are looking for. And just from, I think that will make the game, it won't change the game at all, but I think it will make it more better playable for the ones that at the moment struggle with the rule book or the rules, right? Also, one thing that we got feedback about is streamlining. And there I can simply say, in the streamlining region, not much will be happen, because until now the feedback that we got, most of the feedback will either break the game completely or make it even more complicated. Because I love some of the suggestions, but they even will, they will, most of them without, because we of course know the game a bit better than the ones that suggested. I mean, it's logical. We made the game. Some ideas completely make it very, very complicated. So from a streamlining perspective, we won't do much. I also, Ricarda reported back to me, she doesn't think it's a streamlining problem. She really thinks that if we can improve the rule book, it will already solve a lot. And also the only thing that we think, when we do dinosaurs, right, there we maybe can streamline it a bit, because dinosaurs, like I said, give you a bit more possibilities. Because, for example, one detail, the bachelor groups. Some animals allow bachelor groups, some don't. It's a very specific thing that I love to have in the game, and because it's thematic, it just makes the species all a bit different, because some have it, some don't, right? But for dinosaurs, for example, we don't know if dinosaurs had bachelor groups. So it's easy to most probably then just focus on alpha species and non-alpha species, right? So we maybe for dinosaurs can make it a bit simpler, a bit easier, a bit more streamlined, because there we just also have a bit more options without making it unthematic. Because for Samuel and especially for me, I want that the animals feel thematic, that they feel real. And that, I mean, that's also the reason why we play Tycoon, right? We want to care for the animals, and they also all have to feel a bit differently. So with streamlining, at the moment, nothing big, nothing, even small. We didn't found much, and we think that changing the rules will do the major job, right? I think, it's more, it's let's say it like this, the streamlining calls are more a symptom than the real reason behind the confusion. So, and I think I have one question. What was the question? We had the big box question, and what was the order? The idea is to have one new market. Was it only the big box question? Yeah, the big box was one.
The big box one.
I didn't answer. And yeah, sure. So once we have so at the moment the timetable is like this. We will now want to make the small animals in the house work, because the animals, the big animals already work quite well. There we really, it's just a 1 point up, 1 point down, something like this, but in general it works really well. And the small animals work good, but not good enough. So this is the first thing we will focus on. Once this is done, we will focus on the modular market, because we want to make it work for you, but also because we would like to be able to replace animals. And also I will have a look at these 5 to 10 more animals that you would like to see in the game. And once all this is done, as a last thing, we will also have a look, is there a possibility to play this cooperatively? Are there scenarios? So these are like the 3 steps that we will go. And like parallel to this, we will polish the rulebook, like make the rulebook better. So that is just something that goes parallel to the other projects, because it's especially the base game rulebook, right? So it doesn't have much to do with the expansion. And so regarding the bit box, that's a good question again. And we also so at the moment our plan is the following. So you will get a second box. So just to start simple, so the expansion will be in a second box. It will almost be exactly the same size as we have now. It will be maybe a little bit less high, because we have no zoo boards, for example, no staff boards. But we still want to include, again, these little tuck boxes and everything, so we can't make it very, very slim. And of course, you again have cards, double layered animal market. So it will maybe be like 6.5 centimeters high. I don't know what's this in inches, but it's 6.5 centimeters. And so it will be exactly the same format, because the animal market, right? The animal market give us the size of the box. Because half the animal market or the animal exchange has to be the box. And so it will be the same box and only 6.5 centimeters, again with tuck boxes and everything. And we will make it possible that these 5 to 10 additional animals also have space in the expansion box. They also will have small tuck boxes inside there. So that's ending. And now the big box, because Samuel also told me about it. Our team member Andreas also mentioned it. And we even saw it at Spiel Essen that, for example, for Wingspan, you can get a box for, I think it was 60 euros, 60 euros or whatever. It's a dumb decision, but no, there won't be a big box. From a financial point, it would be smart to do that, because 60 euros or something for such a big box, or even like 30 euros or whatever, 20 euros would be very smart to do that. Because you have to see, such a box costs us like $2 or something. But no, we don't do that, because we don't put a box in a box. And I think if you have the base game box and one expansion box, and that's it for Zoo Tycoon, right? That's fine. And they have the same dimensions, and you can put them in your shelf, and you should be good. And again, from a financial perspective, this is dumb, but I don't want to waste that kind of material. I don't want to do that. We don't want to make money with that, really, even if it would be smart. But no way. That's you also have to see in our core, sustainability is very important for us. And we do the things that we do because they make sense for us. Of course, it's great to make money, but not in such a way. No. So no big box, I'm sorry. And we also won't change our opinion. Go over new national parks. Okay, I can do that. Play with more than 4 players. Yeah, and 2 good questions. Let's first the one with 4 players. More than 4 players. It's a good question, to be honest. We never thought about it, and I think it's more like a no, because if someone wants to play this with 5 to 6 players, all of them have to be very experienced, and the table needs to be gigantic, and it also will be very niche. I mean, if someone really wants to play with 5 players, I mean, you also need cards. Yeah, you need an additional board. If you really want to do that, write to me. If you pay me the shipping, you can get an additional zoo board. But no, it's not planned. It's not planned at all. I think it's already with 4 players. It takes up a lot of space. But if you really have a family and they love the game, and you are 5 or you are 5 friends, write to me. We are always open to. I mean, if you play the shipping, it's completely fine. We have some spare zoo boards. You can have one, right, Samuel? We didn't discuss that, but it's okay. But not 100. If 5 of you want the board, of case, but 100 would be a bit too much. We don't have that much time. And go over new national parks. Yeah, Samuel, can you show again? Okay. And this here on the right, please ignore it. It's already outdated. The biodiversity thing here. So what you already knew here is the animal welfare and worldwide endangered the animal. How is it called? Worldwide breeding program, right? In English, yeah. So at the moment, the plan is to have Punta Tombo, and that's in Argentina, in Patagonia. So it will be the cougar and the Magellan penguin. And what will also be new is that a specific number of animals is required. So here you need 9 of these penguins. Before it was 12. This was horrible, but I think 9 should be okay. And then we have the I think it's northeast Greenland. Yeah, is it northeast? Yeah, or northwest Greenland. It's the biggest national park in the world, I think. It's gigantic, and we would love to have it in game. Then we have this one is the wrong logo, but it will be the Gran Chaco National Park. The Gran Chaco, maybe I completely say it wrong, is in Argentina, Brazil, Paraguay, I think, in several of these states. It's below the Amazon forest. It's like a dry forest region with a lot of different animal. Yeah, it's a very nice region, Gran Chaco. Yeah, maybe Samuel can write it in the chat how this is written. And then we have Park National, and I can't say this. Chonquati-Duli. Yeah, it's I think it's in Congo, maybe. Yeah, Congo. Yeah, and it's close to the ocean, and therefore you have hippos that even go in the ocean. You have the African manatee. You have the greater flamingo there. You have the green sea turtle. I think, yeah, it looks wonderful. And I think it's a great park that has semi-aquatic and aquatic species. I mean, we chose the Gran Chaco Park. We chose because it's the rye forest one. These 2 on the left, of course, we chose because they are tundra ones. And then we have here, and interesting with the Gran Chaco one is also that here you have species from rainforest and from dry forest. That also makes the game a bit more flexible, a bit more creative, how you want to, if you want to play more on the dry forest, or do you want to rainforest, or both of them. Same with this is the name. How is it called? It's is it in Queensland? I think it's Queensland Wetlands Park. It's a big one there. Samuel will put it in the Discord. I don't have the name here, and but I have it on an Excel sheet. But there, yeah, you have such a variety of nice species, like the southern cassowary. You even have some koalas that live in the rainforest region. Most of the time, they are more in the dry forest. You have saltwater crocodiles. You have kangaroos there, the emu. Yeah, it's such a diverse and wonderful park, and I think it summarizes very well what Australia is about, and their most known species are all there. So we have, to summarize, we have 2 Tundra National Park. We have one that is water and rainforest, and we have dry forest, rainforest, and dry forest, rainforest. Yeah, so these are the national parks. So let's go back. Do we have more questions about species, about any other thing?
So far,
are we good?
Fine.
Did I seriously guess the national park right in Queensland? Yeah, most probably, yeah. Most probably, yeah. The logo at the moment, I mean, also the logos that you saw before are not the final ones. All graphic design and all the is not yet done, because of course that's a lot of work. So now that we are certain that we will have these, I will make, because we are not allowed to just take their logo, so I will do something that is similar, right? So something that is similar and is a good like representation, but not I can't take the logo. Otherwise it would be complicated. Is there any errata with the new? What is errata? It doesn't mean when is the Kickstarter. Is there any errata with the new Kickstarter? Sir Spinner, do you maybe know? Can you explain to me what errata is? Clock, would you be open to different national parks if changed animals make more? Yeah, sure. I mean, if we have to change an animal and this leads to another national park, sure. I mean, it gets there a bit more complicated, but if you have great suggestions also with some animals that make sense, sure. I mean, absolutely also possible with that one. Yeah. And we even in the beginning we even played with 6 national parks. It was possible, but we thought then it gets a bit too easy. So if you have a creative other idea, Samuel also likes the idea so that animals are in different parks. So for example, the cougar is in the Punta Tombo National Park, but also in the Gran Chaco National Park. So you have a species in 2 national parks. So if you have a great idea with even species that are in several ones, that's of course something that is very cool because it changes a bit the gameplay. Do you already know what that errata thing is? So what was the cut animal you mentioned on the Discord? The animal that got cut? You mentioned something on the Discord, Sam, or did I mention that? A cut animal?
No, we exchanged the sea otter.
Yeah, so 2 animals got exchanged. Yeah, what we did was the following. Before, there was the giant armadillo, was also a main species. Now it's an additional species because it was too close to the peccari, to the Chaco peccari. So it wasn't really cut. It was just it was changed to an additional species, and now we have for this we could integrate the sea otter, which harmonizes and works very well with the Californian sea lion, but also with the polar bear. And I think it's a great addition and also another water animal. I think the only species that was cut at the moment, we also had the Vancouver Island marmot was also, but it felt a bit alone because it was only the only like real montane forest animal. And we also don't have many. Now it's complicated. What nugget here? What's the animals, the animals with the long teeth. I don't know. Rodents. Yes, it was. We don't have many rodents at the moment. It's still. I think maybe we can include it in the pack of 5 to 10 species because it's a nice. It's a rodent. It's a montane forest reintroduction species. Yeah. So okay, then we have. So what was the animal that we cut? Would you be willing to take suggestions for shark species if said sharks fit? Yeah, sure. Like I said, if we have an animal, if we have a species that can that does well in captivity and has like the same lifespan, or sure, please go ahead. I mean, I would love to have a shark. And Samuel, I mean, I think there are smaller ones, and so yeah, sure, please. What was the cut animal? Yeah, the cut animal. Errata is a rules updates if needed for the further balance needs. Errata is rules updates if needed. No, at the moment, to be honest, we have nothing that needs to change in the base game because of the expansion. The only thing that changes most probably is that the giant anteater and the tundra swan will both have 2 biomes. So you get them a second time. So that the tundra swan will be tundra and montane forest, and the giant anteater will be dry forest and rainforest. And the giant anteater most probably will no longer be a carnivore, but another, like it's like a sloth. I also don't know the name in English, but they have they are like a separate order, a separate category of animals, separate family. So most probably it will be in this family with the giant armadillo. Erratus rules updates? No. So no rules updates at the moment. I think the rules will be exactly the same. So nothing to change. Maybe, yeah, like I said, you get a new animal market that is double layered so that we can make it possible for you. And so 2 animals have more biomes, but I think that's it, right? No changes. No balance we are happy with the balance. Will there be a new event cards and donor cards? Yeah, sure. There will be 3 new donors: water, dry forest, rainforest. No rainforest. Tundra, dry forest, water. Yeah, these 3. There will also be new event cards. Also, event cards like in the first one with the biomes. Everything biome related, you will get new ones. Also, new food buildings and food and gift shops will also be new ones. Oh yeah, the education booth will change a bit because we want that it's possible that you combine every biome with every biome, and we don't want to give you like 20 or 30 different combinations of education booths. So we there we will have a small rule change, but nothing major. But yeah, new event cards, new donor cards, new buildings, everything that is biome related. I would take the armadillo over the park literally any day. I like the idea of making the market board modular, maybe fully modular, meaning make cards for all the animals, possibly based on national park for balancing purposes. Beaver, yeah, the beaver is also one of the species that I have in mind that we could maybe include with Yellowstone. Maybe would the axolotl work in the 510 animal facts? The axolotl will be a small species at the moment. It's plans for one of the small species. You have to see, we can a main species has to be a species that if you go in a zoo has a real big enclosure, and the axolotl most of the time has an aquarium like this or like this. So we can make several tiles. It would look very silly to have an axolotl that has like 4 tiles or something, like a hippopotamus or something. Is there a chance to get a monkey park from the base game? That's something that we thought might be nice. The monkey, that's a good question. Thank you very much. But the apes are completely broken with education. If we would give the apes, the big apes, national parks, that's the only weak spot they have, and they are groups, bigger groups. But no, that wouldn't be a good thing. And then I would only play monkeys. So that's not something that, I mean, Samuel and I at the moment, I have the idea to make something in the Congo, like together with chimpanzees, gorillas, maybe mandrill. But if we do that, then only cooperatively. Then it has to be something that everyone gets points out of it. But if you so only in a cooperative mode, because if someone then if it's if it's competitive, then everyone wants the monkeys. It's just too strong. They have so good stats. The capybara is the capybara is a rodent, I know, and the Arctic hare isn't a rodent, but it's kind of a rodent. So yeah, just you also have to see it changes all the time. But the Vancouver island marmot, you have to see there are a lot of things that are connected. And on the one hand, it was a montane species, and it was very separate from all the other ones because the cougar is very versatile, can play in 4 different biomes, but the marmot would only be in one, right? And then you can't really use it with education. You can't really use it with the food booths. It doesn't help you with a lot of the other things. So it's very separate already. And since the capybara, the only other rodent, is a level 1 species, that doesn't need a lot of experience, right? And so the experience is very short. You are already very fast in the light green area. And yeah, it just doesn't work that well together, right? It's just from our perspective, it would feel very separate, right? But you please prove me wrong, right? So if you have a cool idea with more rodents, even a level 2 one, I'm open for that. The capybara is a rodent. If ferret got swapped with the northern elephant seal, you could do a sea otter, northern elephant seal, and California sea lion. You could choose the thing is, elephant seal is very interesting, but there I would need to see where they have them in captivity, because I searched a lot and I maybe saw something in Japan, but it's not. That's also a restriction that we have. It needs to be a species that normally is in a zoo, right? But maybe, and again, and also something with other seals. They are very similar again to the Californian sea lion. There, it would be problematic to make them completely. I mean, the walrus would also be interesting species, but again, very, very similar. It's a water species. It's So for us, it would be a carnivore. Yeah, that's all the things that we have. Bonehead sharks. We maybe have to take a note about this one. I need to check this shark. I don't know. Do you see it? Yeah. Channel Island is a good Channel Islands. Channel Islands. Did I miss something? Why is there Channel Island is a good idea? We have a sea otter already. Xenar. What's that?
I think that's the
Oh,
ungelenkt here.
ah, okay, yeah, yeah. I think stuff like the smaller sharks and like rays would those rays and smaller sharks, yeah, house animals, absolutely. There, we already have the idea to have the. I personally like the national park system. Apes together strong, yeah, apes together very strong. Will Darth Vader also be included in the expansion? No, Darth Vader won't be included in the expansion. And thanks for the answer. Any chain, yeah, gibbons, very interesting. I would love to. I mean, the gibbon would be a possibility to include instead of the cut of the ring-tailed lemur. The ring-tailed lemur, but it's a dry forest. Gibbons are more rainforest, also dry forest. Because gibbons, there are one female together with two males most of the time, or one male, and that's like a loner monkey. That's nothing we have until now. So for the gibbon, is also very high in my list of species. I definitely would like to see. I don't know if it's in the base game or in the pack with the 5 to 10 animals. But the gibbon has, I think, just from the mechanics that it would bring to the game and from everything, yeah, a good chance that it will be the new that. What do we have else? Any gibbons exactly? Asian rhino would be complicated again, like the African elephant. African elephant would be great, but it's more or less the same like the Asian elephant. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. Then please prove me wrong. But I mean, from the stats and from the size and from the group size, very similar. I would love to have an African elephant. It would also sell well, to be honest. But yeah, did you say there will be a cooperative? Yeah, so that's one thing that we would love to see a bit more is a cooperative play possibility to play it the game. But that's like our third priority. First priority, make this work. Second, make it modular and also make the other 5 to 10 animals work. And then have a look if scenarios, cooperative scenarios would be possible. Did you see there will be a copy? And northern elephant seals are kept in a couple of places in Asia and the US. Then we have to check that. Northern elephant seals. Can you take a note about this? I will check that. That's cool. Will there be different tiers for the small animal species asking for Lord House Island stickbug? Yeah, there will be different one, and that's an interesting one. Yeah, because I think that's the one that was almost extinct, and it's even here on our endangered species world map. So I know about this one. Where are we? I think exclusive as rescues, but the same is true for the green sea turtle. I think exclusively as a rescue. Okay, as a rescue. But the same as for the two. Okay, I will have a look at the northern sea elephant then. The lemurs are good because they're the only primate not in the rainforest. Yeah, absolutely. That's also interesting. And we are always looking forward to. We are always looking for these combinations, right? For new combinations like a monkey that isn't in the rainforest, right? Or a monkey that has a different group composition. Stuff like this is also always very interesting. So when you think about other species, then like I said, we don't want to include clones. So that's a very high priority for us. For big sharks, ones that I know are common doesn't mean that they are necessarily a good. Yeah, sand tiger sharks, leopard sharks, and blacktip reef sharks. Yes, and we will take a note about these, and I will check them. The channels are location off the coast of California. Okay, that would be the national park. Interesting. Okay, the Channel Island was the national park with the northern seal, northern elephant seal, and sea otter, and the Californian sea lion. Yeah, technically, Indian right would have a water tile. Yeah, true. I mean, with the Asian elephant, it would have been the same. They also like water a lot, so that's maybe a thing we have to think about if we will change the card there slightly. But I think most of the others, or technically, India, yeah. Gibbons would be great for the pack together with wolf, bear, bison. Yeah, exactly. I see that. It's the same. What's good enough? Yeah, so the plan for the Kickstarter at the moment is somewhere around May, June, somewhere there. I mean, always it's quality over time. So when we have to get it done. Once it's done, gets easier. And of course, some of the animals, the artists can already start drawing, right? Illustrating, because there will definitely be a polar bear. We definitely won't swap the jaguar or something like this. So they can already start with this. But everything else is depends strongly on the how our progress does look like. So do we get a third way to get conservation points? Maybe with the animal buildings. Yeah, there will be a bit of conservation points also in the animal building, definitely. Spotted seals are kept in several European zoos. They could be distinct from sea being in Trondheim if they live on sea ice. Okay, we definitely will check this. Also, I meant zebra sharks instead of leopard sharks. Okay. Sand tigers do well in captivity. They can cut if they nutrition. Okay. Hi everyone. Has you considered adding some zoo manager cards, which you would draw randomly at the beginning and would change your start? Yeah, we are a bit with cards like this. We are always a bit concerned because we would like. I mean, hidden missions and stuff like this. You see a lot in other games, but we are always a bit concerned that people get it's not balanced. Right, and we also want to give everyone the possibility to take any animal they want and play also, and also react to how the other plays and change their strategy. And we don't want to narrow down their degree of freedom. Right. What about the baboons for monkeys? They're not in the raven. Yeah, definitely baboons also. Like I said, savanna animals and montane forests, we couldn't include in this expansion. So they are definitely higher on the list when it comes for these 5 to 10 additional species. Less money, but one additional tile, or higher money, but only one, and so on. What's this? Okay, less money, but one. Okay, yeah, that. Or yeah. Another type of ape that could kept in the areas. Yeah, Japanese macaque is also very interesting, but they are in big groups, and so it would be very similar to. But yeah, they would have a different biome, but from the group size and everything, and they are very would be very same-ish like the lemurs. So with monkeys, it's also limited what is possible. Shark mini expansion, yes. Geladas, another, yeah, that's I love the geladas, but also again, I mean, in a different biome, completely right. But from just their stats and everything, would be maybe a bit too close. But yeah, definitely a lovable monkey. I think national parks already work as a kind of a hidden mission. Yeah, absolutely. It's a hidden mission system. It gives a guideline. The national park is very helpful. When you don't play with national parks, or you then it's always a bit, they just give you good guidance. They give you a bit of strategy in which way you should go. I think national parks already, yeah. Most hidden mission systems are kind of combo bonus, getting additional points. Yeah, exactly. So they give you additional points. So at the moment, to be honest, we didn't think much about it because it's also a system that we don't like that much. If you have like a very bad starting point. But I mean, with the scenarios, could be a scenario, to be honest. Like I said, we cooperative and scenarios like give that make the game a bit different. And yeah, that could be a possibility there that you have from the beginning a bit different starting position, right? So, any more questions, or is everyone happy for the moment? I like that you're so conscious about clone animals. We don't need another Tycoon Xbox. Yeah. Okay. That's a good comment. I won't comment on that one. No comment. Yeah. So when you do dinosaurs, please make sure the Dilophosaurus is in the game. We have to take a note about it. It's not one that I directly recognize, but yeah, Dilophosaurus. Yeah, I mean, once we go into the dinosaurs, we are open for everything, to be honest. I love the Australian South American representing. Yeah, absolutely, Semi. For those of who joined late, can you give us a 10-sec recap, please? I mean, this will be this one is recorded. So once the stream is done, you just can skip from one point to another and just check what I said. I think around 39 to 40 minutes around this mark, I gave already a summary. And yeah, you can also speed up what I say like 2 times or 3 times or whatever. So there, yeah, because I don't even know what I all said. It's quite a lot. I mean, I can say, yeah, it's tundra, it's dry forest, it's water species, it's 24 new species. We try to make a modular market, and yeah, everything else is somewhere in the stream. Yeah, yeah, can't comment when it's still Xbox. Yeah, absolutely, no comment. Spitting when we still need that license. Yeah, do we learn more about the houses and how they will? Yeah, the houses. We will comment in another stream because the gameplay, the mechanics aren't done yet. They're still working. Yeah, exactly. We are still working. Any ideas about the price expansion? Yeah, not yet. I mean, it would, to be honest, from a component point of view, it's quite similar to the base game. I think there are some SU boards missing, maybe one double layer board is missing, but yeah, we have to see. Until now, that's not something that I evaluated at all. We also didn't evaluate the number of meeples that we need, but yeah, so but it's also not completely different. I mean, the rule book is way less pages, but yeah, we have to see. And also, you have to see the price always depends also on the production costs, and they just they change a lot from the season you're in, but also if there are crises or if there is a material shortage or whatever. So it's very hard to already make estimation for this. Yeah, but it's definitely lower than the base game. This I think I can say safe. Yeah, it's definitely not higher. This I can definitely say. There I'm very sure. Speeding up Mark's speech. Understandable with all the meeples and shots. Yeah, it's absolutely it's a big production, and I need to know precise numbers. And I also don't want to give you a price now and then completely change. So when I say something, it's yeah, it's realistic, right? Then we already are quite certain. And therefore, I also don't want to give any random numbers. As returning backers, will we get updated rulebook? Yeah, definitely. If we change something, like I said, with the modular market, the same. We would definitely provide you these base game animals if we would do a modular market and stuff like this. So definitely no worries. We will always make sure that if you are returning backers, that you are never treated less well than the others. I mean, at least equal or better, right? Yeah. So, yeah, I think that's everything. Yeah, thanks a lot for your time. More questions all in the. Oh, one last question. Okay, that's the last question from me. What about flying seabirds like puffins, gulls, or albatrosses? With the albatrosses, I never saw them in a zoo. I have to be honest. You also have to see they have like 3 meters wingspan. I think they are not kept in zoos. Gulls also, I have to say, I never saw a gull. I saw puffins, and puffin were also, yeah, it's something that I also had in mind, but just it you have to see it's a complicated process how we get to these animals, and it's just they have to match together. For example, in the tundra at the moment there is a big focus on carnivorous species so that the polar bear is unlocked, and it's just the puffins didn't perfectly match. But yeah, maybe we have to reconsider the puffin. Also have to see maybe. Yeah, maybe Samuel can take a note, and I will see if the puffin, because I also love puffins, I have to say. An avian expansion for houses could do like shorebirds exhibit, Monterey. Yeah. Yeah, with the houses, like I said, still very open in which, I mean, we already have an idea of the species, but there we will also be quite flexible. But it also has to be realistic, what we already have in the game. Yeah. So sounds like a good idea for the small. Yeah, perfect. So I think now all the questions are through. So yeah, thank you very much for your time. Like I said, Samuel will you do it today?
Tonight, yeah.
Tonight, Samuel will wrap up wrap up the Discord. Will archive
yeah.
Will archive some of the threads that are no longer that we no longer use need. And and then he will place new threads where you can comment on these specific questions that we have, and also on the animals and all this stuff. But yeah, thank you very much for being part of the journey, right? For being here. Samuel, come here. You also have to say goodbye. He's always hiding. So yeah, thank you very much. And yeah, we see each other again on Discord, correct?
Yes, absolutely.
Perfect. So yeah,
Also,
have a good evening.
bye guys.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
Bye.